Hi, I'm Helen Hajnoczky, and I am the author of Frost and Pollen, which is now available from Invisible Publishing. And this book is made up of two long poems. The first is called Bloom and Martyr, and the second is called Foliage. And I was really inspired by the work of Gertrude Stein and Natalie Simpson to write the first poem, as well as my, love of nature and being out in the woods or among the plants. So it's a sort of agrammatical poem that tries to get at the sort of texture and tactile nature of language rather than the traditional meaning of the words, and it deals with themes of flowers and femininity and sexuality. And the second poem, Foliage, is based on the Arthurian legend Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And it's been rewritten from the perspective of the Green Knight instead of the perspective of Gawain. And in the original story, the Green Knight comes to the court of Camelot at Christmas and challenges the court to a game, a challenge that Gawain takes up. So the Green Knight says he'll let Gawain hack off his head, and then 1 year later, Gawain will have to come find him at his green chapel, and there the Green Knight will return the blow. And the original deals with themes more of honor and what it means to be a knight, whereas mine deals with themes of environmental degradation and climate change, imagining the Green Knight as a sort of personification of the forest and the earth, which we are mistreating. So I will now read a little bit from Foliage. When Hades had his fill of hurling flames and catapulting comets, the churning magma mellowed, smothering Earth's embers. Then in the Archean, the Earth's crust cooled into continents, and the original organisms stirred in the oceans, exhaling oxygen. Then in the Paleozoic, primordial plants populated Pangaea. Ordovician swamps were festooned with the spores of tiny shoots, and in the Devonian, carbon dioxide doused Earth's dewy gardens. And at last, Archaeopteris descended into the ancient atmosphere, wrenching its wooden roots into the sod and clodding clay, breaking rocks and stones to nourish ponds and waterways. So trees shaped this world, with green and ease, while regal ferns unfurled in splendid filigrees. Then when the world wanted ornament, Flora in her flowing robes gifted flowers to the leaves that flourished in fragrance the winds. With her every step, sweet spices sprang forth and flavored the fields. And then, before her dance was done, she knelt down to the ground and placed her palm on the merry moss, moving to her music. She conjured me to keep watch over the trees and ferns and flowers, the holy holly and blooming baubles that adorned her dominion, the roots and rot that sprout and feed the fauna that walk the earth. And so the boughs burgeoned and blossomed, flourished and failed, and I dozed, drowsed by the harmonies of life's rhythms. These isles were then disturbed by the arrival of men, desecrating the forest with destruction so vile, until I awoke to restore tranquility when the woods called on me for my axe and for my guile. Stirred from my slumber in the sumptuous moss, moist with snow, I awakened at Yuletide, when the evergreens grow flush with frost, and the ivy glistens in glittering garlands of cold crystals. My juniper beard studded with snowflakes and lichens, I wrested the roots of my arms from the dirt, my legs from the land, and standing full and viridescent, I straightened and stretched, and there, buried beside my bed in a blanket of botanical debris, was my axe, still grand and massive, but dulled by dulcet peace. Kneeling, I prized the prize from the placid patch of plants, and heaved this heavy honor high above my head. And so, to play fate's game, I know, in my heart I know, I must seek Morgan Le Fay, the dame, who can sharpen this blade of woe. So, I want to thank Invisible for publishing Frost and Pollen. If you want to hear what happens next, grab a copy of the book. Thanks so much.